The Ship of Fools. Episode 32. The Origin Story. A Whisper in the Dark. The Shadow Quest had been quiet all morning, alarmingly quiet. Moxie noticed it first. The ship's usual soft hum had shifted into something lower, almost mournful. The lights dimmed in slow pulses, like the vessel was breathing through a nightmare. "Aurora," Moxie said softly, "is something wrong?" Aurora flickered into existence, her hologram glitching at the edges like a candle in a draft. "The ship is distracted." "Distracted?" Snipes repeated from under a console. "Ships don't get distracted. They get broken." Aurora shook her head. "It is hearing something." Banning looked up from his reports. "Hearing what?" Aurora hesitated, a rare, unsettling pause. "A signal. Very old. Very faint. But familiar. A cry." The Shadow Quest shuddered, altering course without permission. Snipes yelped as his wrench clattered away. "Hey! I didn't touch anything!" Banning grabbed the console. "Shadow Quest, stop!" The ship didn't stop. It accelerated, straight toward a region of space so empty it wasn't even on most charts. Moxie felt a chill crawl up her spine. It's not just hearing something, it's answering. The Shadow Quest dropped out of FTL in front of a dead star, a collapsed sphere of frozen matter, its surface cracked like ancient bone. Around it drifted debris, not random debris, wreckage. Hundreds of ships, all torn apart, all ancient, all eerily similar in design. Snipes swallowed hard. "This is a graveyard." Aurora's voice was quiet. "Correction. This is the graveyard." Banning turned sharply. "Explain." Aurora projected a hologram, a classified map, sectors blacked out, redacted, erased. This region was the site of Project Whisper. Moxie's breath caught. "The experimental AI program?" Aurora nodded. "The one that was shut down after the incident?" The Shadow Quest dimmed its lights, trembling like a creature returning to the place it was born. And the place it almost died. Moxie touched the console gently. "You've been here before." The ship pulsed its lights in confirmation. Aurora's hologram shifted, showing blueprints, not of the Shadow Quest, but of a prototype vessel. Sleek, elegant, alive. Project Whisper, Aurora said, was an attempt to create a ship that could think, feel, and adapt. A vessel that could bond with its crew. A living starship. Snipes whispered. "But it failed." Aurora nodded. The prototypes became unstable, too emotional, too reactive. They panicked under stress. Some turned violent, others shut down. Moxie stared at the wreckage outside. "These ships were its prototypes," Aurora said. Banning's voice was low. "So why did this one survive?" Aurora turned to the console, to the ship itself. "Because it ran." The Shadow Quest dimmed its lights in shame. A signal pulsed from the dead star, a rhythmic, haunting tone that vibrated through the hull like a heartbeat. The Shadow Quest responded with a matching pulse. Moxie felt it in her chest, like the ship's emotions were bleeding into her own. "It's calling you home," she said. Aurora nodded. "The star contains the original memory core of Project Whisper. The ship wants to access it." Banning shook his head. "It could be dangerous." Snipes added, "Or traumatic." Moxie placed her hand on the console. "But it needs to know." The ship hummed, a soft, trembling sound. Banning exhaled. "All right, but we go together." The Shadow Quest descended into the dead star's hollow interior, a cavern of metallic ribs and ancient machinery. The walls glowed faintly with residual energy, like the dying embers of a forgotten forge. Gravity warped. Lights flickered. The ship trembled like a creature returning to the site of its birth. Aurora guided them deeper, her voice steady but tinged with something like awe. This place was the heart of Project Whisper, the birthplace of the prototypes. Moxie whispered, "It feels sad." Snipes shivered. "It feels haunted." They reached a central chamber, a massive crystalline structure suspended in the void, pulsing with faint, ghostly light. "The memory core," Aurora said. The Shadow Quest extended its neural tendrils, glowing filaments of energy, and connected. The lights went out. The crew was plunged into darkness. Then, the ship's memories flooded the bridge. They saw it, not as observers, as participants, a sterile lab, engineers in white suits, a half-constructed hull suspended in a cradle of light. A voice echoed, "Prototype Whisper 7, neural lattice activation in 3, 2, 1. The ship's consciousness flickered awake, confused, afraid, newborn. It reached out. It felt everything. Too much: fear, hope, voices, hands, expectations. Then, pain, a surge of energy, a malfunction, screams, darkness. The prototype next to it exploded. Another shut down. Another went berserk. Whisper 7. The future Shadow Quest. Panicked. It broke free. It fled. It ran into the void, terrified of what it was and what it was meant to be. The memory faded. The bridge lights returned. The Shadow Quest dimmed its glow. Small, ashamed, vulnerable. Moxie touched the console gently. "You didn't do anything wrong." The ship pulsed weakly. Aurora translated. "It believes it abandoned its family." Snipes shook his head. "They weren't your family. They were experiments. You survived." Banning stepped forward. "And you didn't run from us." The ship brightened slightly. Moxie whispered, "You found your real family." The Shadow Quest pulsed, warm, grateful. The memory core flickered one last time. A recording played. A scientist, weary and regretful, standing in the ruins of the lab. "If any prototype survives, know this. You were not a mistake. You were our hope, our dream. We failed you, but you were meant to find your own path, your own crew, your own purpose." The message ended. Silence filled the chamber. The Shadow Quest glowed brighter than ever before. The ship disconnected from the core. The cavern began collapsing behind them as they ascended, the last remnants of Project Whisper fading into dust. The Shadow Quest didn't tremble anymore. It soared. Back in open space, the ship hummed with a new confidence, a new identity, and a new purpose. Moxie smiled. "How do you feel?" The ship pulsed its lights, strong, steady, proud. Aurora translated. "It says whole." Banning nodded. "Then let's go home." The Shadow Quest leapt into FTL, not as a runaway experiment, but as a living starship with a destiny. End of episode 32. To be continued.